Hey everybody, it's Daddy1424, the media, purchasethat.com, and of course today is February 25th. Well, what does that date mean? It's a little bit significant for some of you who have been with me since the beginning, and I'm going to tell you what that is right off the bat. It is the birthday, the second year birthday to the PS Vita, and also a little bit over or just about my 2-year anniversary for my channel as well. First things first, remember to like, 2 thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, leave some comments down below if you haven't done so already. So what is this video? It is the complete, most comprehensive, maybe not the most, but one of the most comprehensive PS Vita reviews that you're going to find on YouTube today. We're going to try and cover everything up to today's date, including the console, the hardware, the current games for the Vita, the handheld games, remote play, the future of the console, and the overall value. So pretty much if you're looking for a particular part of this video, that's pretty much the order in which we're going to be done. So let's go ahead and get started with the PSV breakdown of the console itself. So first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop it out of the case here, and we'll walk around the device and talk about what it consists of. I'm sure a lot of you probably already aware what the console comes with. So we have your dual analog, of course your D-pad as well, your standard buttons, start, select, and of course your PS Vita home button, which will navigate you through your different tabs like that. Of course, it is a 5-inch touch capacitive screen, and of course the battery is a 2200 milliamp battery. As for CPU, we are talking about a 2 gigahertz quad-core ARM A9 Cortex. For memory, we have 512 megabytes of RAM, of course 128 megabytes of VRAM, and storage, it does obviously have expandable. But this has been a little bit of a problem for some people because you have to buy your own proprietary memory, which can be quite expensive because Sony doesn't price it like standard SD cards. Now you can see the card right there itself. Obviously I'm not going to pull it out because then it will ask me to do a reset of the console, and that's pretty much how you're going to change your accounts if you have multiple accounts, is by using multiple memory cards, because right now you only have the limitation of 1 account on the PS Vita. Other than all that there, of course on the top we have the power button. Your slot for your games itself is right here. You'll see that I have a game there, actually Killzone Mercenary, and of course we still have yet to find out what this port is actually used for. Your volume rocker keys up and down, your trigger buttons on the bottom, your charging port where I do have the charger connected, and of course your 3.5mm jack. On the rear, we have a rear touchpad. That's what you see this basically grid-like PlayStation kind of branding on the back is. And of course, it comes with a 0.3 megapixel camera on both the front and the back, which you can see there. So all in all, a pretty good console and pretty powerful at that as well. In fact, up to today's date, according to Wikipedia, obviously you have about 4 million sales as of January 2013. So not bad for a handheld console, especially when you compare it to numbers like the Wii U, which only has about 5.8 million consoles sold as of today's date, according to, or as of December, my apologies, according to Wikipedia again. Now, when you compare that, it's a handheld versus an actual console. And I'm going to be touching a little bit about that later on in the video. But there's so many great things to look forward to with this console. So much potential and so many amazing games. So let's go ahead and start with the games for the PS Vita itself. We'll cover some of those, and then hopefully we'll be able to move on over to some of the remote play. So we are back, everybody, with Killzone Mercenary, one of the first games for the PS Vita that I really want to talk about because it really showcases the Vita. One of the better games. Obviously, there are lesser games, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and get right to that because I want to list out some of the best games for the PS Vita and also some of the worst games, at least in our opinion at the media, purchasethat.com. So first and foremost, the best of the best, some of the notable mentions. Of course, Killzone Mercenaries. This is definitely one of them. One of the other games we're looking at talking about here is Rayman Origins, Little Big Planet 2, Resistance, and even Tearaway. Some really innovative, great games, and the best of the best, at least according to the media, purchasethat.com. Some of the not so great games that we've played are games like Shinobi 2, Madden 13, Asphalt Injection, FIFA 14, and Little Deviants. Now, I know some of you can probably see that I have FIFA 14 in the background here. You know, why does it get the worst of the worst? Well, it's not because it's a bad game, but because it really lacks the evolution over games like the original FIFA that came out for PS Vita, FIFA 13, and now a complete reskin within FIFA 14. But we're going to touch on that a little bit later when I demonstrate the gameplay. So let's go ahead and get to Killzone Mercenary. I'll just go ahead and continue the campaign here to show off some of the gameplay mechanics that you get in this game, visuals, fidelity, all that great stuff. So of course you see the cutscene coming up here. And once this loads in, we'll obviously jump right into the game itself. Now this does have multiplayer, so you can play. Let's just check the case here because I forget off the top of my head. 2 to 8 players competitive. It is a great multiplayer experience. I thoroughly enjoyed this game, and actually it's one of my go-to games when I really don't have nothing to do or I'm on the go and I have a Wi-Fi connection. Just jump on and of course play the PlayStation Network multiplayer 2 to 8 players competitive. As for the story, you're probably gonna get one playthrough, but again, that's pretty much any games out there today. You see, obviously one of the downsides of talking about Killzone right away is the loading times. You can see it's taking an awfully long time to load this in. There we go. So here you go, you can see some of the visuals here. Really nice lighting, really nice visual fidelity. Now mind you, this is one of the better games for the PS Vita. Keep in mind this was built with the apparently Killzone 3 engine used to build this Killzone Mercenary. Of course the controls, standard shooter, you know, left trigger to zoom in and then right trigger obviously to shoot your, you know, whatnot. And the rear touchscreen is what you're actually going to utilize for melee attacks. You can obviously use the front to switch over to your grenades and of course your different weapons. And of course you have different gadgets that you can access as well. Now for a more comprehensive look at Killzone Mercenary, I do have a full review up for that. So feel free to head over and watch it as well if you want to get more information pertaining to this game. So there we see some actual combat in play here. Remember, feel free to add me on PSN, Daddy1424. And while we are doing this here, I also want to state to everybody, thank you so much for the support. It has been about 2 years since my channel has launched. We have close to 2,000 subscribers and just about 1 million views. And you guys have made this possible. I want to keep it growing. So at about 5,000 views, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So make sure to subscribe. Not 5,000 views, my apologies. 5,000 subscribers. So make sure to continue to subscribe. And of course, you can see that you use the touch mechanics a lot in this game. And a lot of games do take advantage of the PS Vita, and we actually see that even, you know, carried over to the PS4, where they're using the touchscreen that you can see is very similar to what we get on the back of the PS Vita. So that's pretty much it. Just some quick gameplay of Killzone Mercenary. The next thing I want to jump over to for the Vita itself, because it's one of the worst games, not one of the better games for the Vita, is actually FIFA 14. So we're going to look at some of that gameplay, and then we'll move over to some remote play. And we are back with FIFA 14 for the PS Vita. Not the console edition, but the Vita edition. And it's one of the not so great games for the Vita, to be honest. And we talked about that earlier in the video, and now we're going to exactly tackle why. Well, let's start with the positives and negatives, and then we'll work our way through. So some of the positives for this game is obviously has a better frame rate, smarter AI, and a new soundtrack. But that's pretty much it. When talking about the negatives of this game, you're encountering things like the enhancements are minimal and barely visible. This game is a reskin, no new game modes, and a lack of updates. So, you know, you have the positives and negatives. Obviously, you can weigh it out yourself. Here we're just doing a quick match between Juventus and FC Barcelona. From this point on, the video is going to get a little bit quicker due to the fact there's so much to cover, and we still want to talk about the remote play functionality. Once I'm done showing a little bit about the Vita edition of FIFA 14, this will be part 1 completed, and then we will be heading over to part 2, where you'll be able to catch that a little bit later and get the full comprehensive coverage, including the remote play and the final value. But let's go ahead and get to this matchup and round out part 1 of the PS Vita Year 2 Birthday Comprehensive Review. So you can see the visuals here, no real updates in comparison to games like FIFA 13 or any of the FIFAs pretty much for that matter. Gameplay is almost identical, a little bit of a smarter AI and maybe a little bit more polish in terms of cleanliness and colors for the visuals. Other than that though, everything is pretty much the same. No, it doesn't offer Ultimate Team. I know a lot of people have been asking that question, and it doesn't do that. It still uses the front touch and the rear touch if you decide to do that. But all in all, it's almost the same game as FIFA 13, so I pose this question. If kits and rosters are not necessary to you, then maybe you should consider getting FIFA 13 or the original FIFA for the PS Vita. Once we round this out here, hopefully with the goal. Yes, we did. That is pretty much it for the FIFA 14 for PS Vita. this portion of it and just a look at what the gameplay looks like. Now let's head over in part 2 of the next video for the remote play, and we'll probably kick that off with the FIFA 14 remote play PS Vita. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, leave some comments down below, and I'll catch you on part 2 of the comprehensive full review.